Last week when I was using the Japa 365 to process some birch and hickory, I had mentioned that I had never had that in my woodyard before. And now I have something else in my woodyard that I have never really had before to this level, to this extreme. And it's not something good. I'll be talking about that coming up here later on in this video. But right now, the Japa, if you can see, is actually in transport mode because I just brought it back, yesterday. We were up at my brother-in-law's, Amanda's parents' farm, and I was helping my brother-in-law split up a load of logs that he had gotten in. He's trying to build up his supply of firewood for the upcoming years, and he had a 12-cord load of logs delivered. Now, some of the logs were a little too big for the Japa, but we went to town, tackling the pile, pulling out the logs that we could and feeding them through, splitting them down into, we were only using the 4-way, so we were splitting a little big because they do run an outdoor wood boiler. And the other thing we were doing is we were cutting the lengths to 20 inches. So I had a little boss man there helping me, and you're gonna notice in this footage coming up here that every now and then I gotta go over and kind of help him adjust the log, because when you're cutting longer lengths, when you get down to the end of the log, it tends to like dip down, and so it's harder to make that final cut on the last two pieces. So, plus I was checking in to make sure the wedge was adjusted to the right height, but it was a big help having little boss man there because it took two of us to pull the logs out and load them, and then as we were pulling the other log out and getting it ready to load, he was able to zip through those logs and send him on out the end of the conveyor over into the woodshed. So I'm gonna bring you that footage here right now, and then I'm gonna come back and see if you can take a guess as to what I have here in the woodyard now that I haven't had it like this before, and I don't necessarily want this in my woodyard. Maybe leave a guess right now in the comments and then come back and find out. So even though we didn't get through that whole pile of logs, we did put a good dent in it. And now the bigger stuff that's left, he can process down and split up. But it was just nice to have the Japa there to get through all of those, you know, the smaller, medium-sized logs. And we did fill up the woodshed. We were only there for the morning, so it did get a lot done, a lot split up. And the Japa made pretty quick work of it. Now, on to the thing that I have in the wood yard that I don't necessarily want. I get asked about this every now and then, about like snakes and pests and things in my wood piles. And I never usually notice too many things in the wood piles, but I have noticed in the shelter behind me here and over in the greenhouse, a growing number of mice and mouse nests and remains, seeds, things chewed up. So yesterday, I went and bought myself some traps. And if you were on the live stream Friday night, we talked about this. But I bought some traps and I put them out yesterday in the evening. I put out 8 traps. And I put out 2 little boxes with like the poison inside them, because I don't want poison just laying around. But anyway, of the 8 traps that I put out, this morning, 2 of them were gone, which John frickin' Jeep warned me about. He chains his down. So 2 of the traps were gone, and the other 6 all had mice in them. So last night, almost, and I'm guessing that the ones that are gone, I don't know, they must have got caught and they ran off with it. Anyway, 6 dead mice already, and I was thinking maybe half of them would have mice in them, but apparently there's more mice back here than I think there is. And the one thing I want to do is keep them out of the shelter here because, well, you know why. They just make a mess and chew on everything. I did also buy some of those packs. They're like mint smelling. There's some type of scent to them, and I put those, a couple packs down inside the kinlet and a few other places just to try to keep them, to keep the mice away and out of stuff like that. But there was a few suggestions on the live stream of how to deal with these mice. So let me know if you've got any other suggestions on how to handle and control this rodent problem. Because I've noticed a mouse nest here or there in the past years. But as I was pulling out wood last week for had a couple orders. A lot of wood moved out last week. I had a bunch of bundles to make. So anyway, as I was going through a lot of these stacks, I was noticing more and more mouse nests. And now, last night, 8 traps, 6 confirmed caught, and the other 2 traps are not around anymore. So I don't know what happened to them, but there's definitely a mouse problem. So we're gonna have to deal with that. Hopefully I can continue to stay on top of it and get ahead and not get overrun, because that is the last thing I need here in the wood yard. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Stay safe, have fun, and be cool.
I've been a real bad boy on the town all night.